Good morning on this Monday, June 14th, 2021. Let it be known we have a very good show for you this morning, action-packed, if you will. We're going to hear from Attorney Ben Crump this morning. We're going to hear from excerpts from an interview we did with Stephanie Mills. We got a lot going on. The convention is coming up. We got some great information for you about the NNPA's annual virtual convention. Well, it's virtual this year because of the pandemic. We hope to go in person next year. But our president and CEO, Dr. Ben Chavis, our executive team led by Karen Carter Richards, are really putting together a great convention coming up on June 23rd. We're going to talk a whole lot more about that. Let us bring on the president and CEO of the National Newspaper Publicists Association, Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Tracy. On behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Karen Carter Richards, our chair, and our whole executive committee, and our board of directors, 17 members of our board, as well as 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies across America, we welcome you to this Monday morning edition of Let It Be Known.
Yes, and Dr. Chavis in the headlines this morning, citing escalating voting restriction laws in Republican-controlled states around the country, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced several actions that the Department of Justice plans to protect the freedom to vote. Garland said the department would double its civil rights voting rights enforcement staff. He would use federal voting statutes to protect the vote and scrutinize the new anti-voting laws in states like Texas, Arizona, and Florida. Garland called expanding voting rights, including proposed bills like the For the People Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, central pillars to American democracy. The evenly divided U.S. Senate, which includes moderate Democrat Joe Manchin of West Virginia, has displayed little appetite in passing those measures that would help protect voting rights for people of color. Garland declared that we know that expanding the ability of all eligible citizens to vote is a central pillar. That means ensuring that all eligible voters can cast a vote, that all lawful votes are counted, and that every voter has access to accurate information. He promised that the Justice Department would double the Civil Rights Division's voting rights enforcement staff within 1 month. He also pledged to work with other agencies to fight voting-related disinformation, a hallmark of the previous administration. So, Dr. Chavis, the Attorney General, the Department of Justice is really doubling down that they want to get rid of these restrictive voting laws that's coming to fruition around the country.
Right, particularly in Texas, Florida, Georgia, many other places where African Americans and other communities of color are concentrated. You see these voter suppression laws been put on the books in state legislatures. It's a violation of the Constitution of the United States. It's a violation of voting rights. And we're pleased that the Attorney General of the United States, Garland, is now responding. The federal government is going to have to step in and block these actions that are targeted. It's like racial profiling all over again now in voting. You know, it's driving while black, walking while black, now voting while black. You know, they're trying to do everything they can to prevent in the 2022 election more progress. They want to go backwards. So, and also, you know, Attorney General Garland has a strong now Deputy Attorney General for Civil Rights, Christian Clark, a sister. So I know she's going to be on the case, implementing what the Attorney General has just announced.
Yeah, absolutely. And another quote from the Attorney General, he said, there are many things that are open to debate in America, but the right of all eligible citizens to vote is not one of them. The right to vote is the cornerstone of our democracy, the right from which all other rights ultimately flow. Garland, Dr. Chavis, demanded that Congress act. He declared, though, if they don't act, he says, we will not wait for that legislation to act. He said the Justice Department is currently reviewing new state laws that restrict voting to determine, as you noted, Dr. Chavis, if they violate the Constitution or federal statutes. So the Department of Justice under the administration of President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris is really working to level the playing field.
Absolutely. And of course, those of us in the Black press, we intend to continue to raise awareness in Black America and all communities of color, as well as all progressive communities. This is an issue that transcends race. Attorney General Garland is right. It is the most fundamental right in America, in American democracy, is the right to vote.
Yeah, Bobby Henry is watching down in Florida, Dr. Chavis, and he says we all can learn to do it if you let us see it done. We welcome all who are watching, including Cheryl Smith at the Texas Metro News and iMessenger Media. Michelle Madison, Lynn Spivey is watching, and so is from the Omaha Star, Dr. Chavis, T.D. Sanders is watching as well. James Wright says he's registered for the NMPA's convention. And David Youngblood, we always a good morning to you, David. David says, we must storm the polls, near total participation by African Americans. I know that's something that, Dr. Chavis, you wholeheartedly agree with.
Absolutely. The antidote to voter suppression is overwhelming voter turnout. That's our answer. Look what happened in Georgia. They tried to do everything they could to block the vote in Georgia. And Stacey Abrams and Latasha Brown and all the brothers and sisters in all those counties, not just the urban places, but the rural counties, turned out in record numbers, the highest Black voter turnout in Georgia in history. We got to do that across the country. We see these people coming. If you know that a lynch mob is coming for you, you got to be prepared for that mob. You know what I'm saying? So this is no time for us to sleep. This is no time for us to be apathetic. This is no time for us to say, oh, my vote doesn't count. Your vote does count. We need to increase our voter registration. We need to have a campaign. And one of the things we're going to talk about this next week at the NMPA's National Convention is the role of the Black press to protect voting rights in America.
And say good morning to Joni King. She says, great morning. And also Annette Phillips, we always appreciate all of you watching this morning. Michelle Madison, of course, as well. Also in the news this morning, Dr. Chavis, you can add Pulitzer Prize to the list of awards and recognition bestowed upon Darnella Frazier, the 17-year-old who bravely videotaped the murder of George Floyd in 2020. The Pulitzer Prize board issued a special citation to Darnella, who is now 18. They say it is for, quote, for courageously recording the murder of George Floyd, a video that spurred protests against police brutality around the world, highlighting the crucial role of citizens and journalists' quests for truth and justice. For her efforts, Darnella is also, Dr. Chavis, receiving the National Newspaper Publishers Association's highest journalism award and a monetary scholarship at the NMPA's annual convention, which begins on Wednesday, June 23rd. Floyd's family attorney, Benjamin Crump, who we will hear from in this program, told the Black press that there will be no civil settlement or a trial and conviction of Derek Chauvin had it not been for Darnella's actions. He said it was Darnella Frazier who stepped up. Officials in Minneapolis reached a record $27 million civil settlement with Floyd's family, and Chauvin now faces as much as 40 years in prison when he is sentenced on June 25th. So congratulations to Darnella Frazier, and we'll get a chance at the convention to further show her the gratitude of the work she's done.
I'm so pleased on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, and when we discussed this with our chair, Karen Carter Richards, everybody was in agreement. We're giving Darnella Frazier our highest journalism award. It'll be awarded on June 25th at our awards program. It'll be virtual. And our highest journalism award is named after Ida B. Wells. We're giving her the Ida B. Wells Freedom Fighting Award for what she did in photojournalism, capturing the murder of George Floyd. Under great stress, the police were trying to make her put down the camera. She stood there with great courage and filmed that whole situation. And, if we're ever going to get justice in the case, it will be because of the courage of 17-year-old Darnella Frazier.
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Chavis. We're all looking forward to that virtual convention. You can register. It's free. www.virtualnmpa2021.com. You don't want to miss it. And as we continue to observe Black Music Month, Dr. Chavis, Here's a programming note. This Friday, we have a very special interview with Stephanie Mills, which will culminate in the debut of her new single, Let's Do the Right Thing. It's the first song from Stephanie Mills' first new studio album in almost 20 years, and she is coming to the Black press first with this exciting new project during Black Music Month. So we have a lot of great things coming up, Dr. Chavis. Tune in on this program and on NMPA's Fire broadcast on Friday for the full interview with Stephanie Mills, and also for the release of her brand new song, Let's Do the Right Thing. She's doing it exclusively with the Black Press of America right here on the social media channels of the NMPA.
So, Stacey, give out that time on Friday for the Station Mills and for the Stephanie Mills release. What time on Friday will that happen?
So you can first see it here on Let It Be Known at 7:30 a.m. And I'm waiting for our producer, Norman Rich, to give me the time for Friday afternoon's full broadcast of Stephanie Mills' great, powerful interview. I think it's 5 p.m. is what Norman says, 5 p.m. Friday. So
5 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern time, yes.
Right.
And it's a very powerful interview, Dr. Chavis. As you know, she makes some really amazing comments about young artists today, about what she believes that they should be looking for in this business, and also about social justice.
Right. And we wish more artists would do what Stephanie Mills is doing and has done. And that is give the Black press the recognition, give the Black press the opportunity, give the Black press an uplift. And if all artists would use the Black press to help inform the greater public at large, it will do tremendous to help bring about sustainability of the Black press in 2021 as we move forward to 2022. So we salute Stephanie Mills, and we thank her on behalf of the Black press for thinking and for lifting up the importance of the Black press.
Yeah, and actually, Dr. Chavis, I think we are ready to go to a couple of clips from the Stephanie Mills interview. And we're going to bring you a couple of clips from that interview, as well as a special presentation from Attorney Ben Crump that we're going to have at the convention. So let's first go to Stephanie Mills. She was talking about, Dr. Chavis, in this coming clip, about Black pride and her son. Let's take a look. Stephanie, you talked about technology and its advantages. Do you think the So we got some technical stuff going on here. I guess we're working it out, but we'll go back to that in a moment. But again, Stephanie Mills, the clip we want to show you, she talks about how you can't lose yourself as an artist, and also she talked about her son and going to school and what that means for everyone. Perhaps Norman, you can let us know when that clip is ready. But Dr. Chavis, as you noted, she's also, to use your words, she's also a freedom fighter, has been a freedom fighter for a long time. And it comes across very much so in our discussions with her.
Absolutely. She's one of the strong artists that supported the civil rights movement and continues to support the freedom movement. She supported Black Lives Matter. She supported
campaigns. I just think it's important, and it's important to me. I'm raising a male Black child who has special needs, but he's so proud. He's such a soldier, and I always tell Farad, go where you're celebrated, not tolerated. So right now he's going to college. Next year he has one more year of high school. Then he's going to college, and it's going to be between Howard and A&T. Well, Howard performed and had the band out for him and stuff. So he's more prone to Howard because he said, Mom, they celebrated me. I said, but A&T, you got to give them a chance. They might celebrate you too. So it's funny how he makes his choices. But I teach him that. Go where you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated. And I don't think we should go where they just want to tolerate us.
Yeah, and she's talking about not just her son, but she's talking about Black people in general as a whole.
Exactly. It's a great quote. And it just shows you that Stephanie Mills practices what she sings She practices what she preaches, and she raises her family in kind. She lives down in my home state now, North Carolina. We're so proud of her, and I'm sure that having two HBCUs on the agenda, her son will make the right decision. Both of those historically black college universities are just great, and I'm sure that her son will be celebrated at either of those important academic institutions.
Yeah, her son goes by the name Farad J, and he has a couple of books out that The Adventures of Farad J. They are fun books. I think people should check out those books, Dr. Chavis. Another thing she talked about was, and here's the thing, not losing yourself in the music business. She talked about artists who get lost in this business. In other words, things go to their heads. Let's take a look at what Stephanie Mills had to say about that. And Stephanie, you talked about technology and its advantages. Do you think the young performers, the young musicians of today recognize and respect the sacrifices of the performers that preceded them?
No, absolutely not. They have no respect. I don't think so. Some of them do, but for the most part, no, they have no respect.
Wow. I just, again, Stephanie, you are one of a kind because you are, you mince no words. And I like that. You speak your mind, and we always applaud that. I mean, without hesitation, Dr.
I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but at 64, I really don't care.
Yeah. that comes with age, right? After a while, you stop caring about what people really think, right?
Well, at so long in your career, you always have to be so diplomatic and watch what you say, even though you see things that are just tragically and just wrong, and you don't speak about it. And I think I'm just at the point where I want people to know. I would love for these new artists to know so they don't make the same mistakes or make mistakes, period, if they knew. With the people that are surrounded. There's a lot of our young people dying from drug overdose. They're stressed out. They're depressed. Why? When they have all this success, there's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah. So
words of wisdom.
Yeah, those are words. That wasn't the exact clip that I thought we had ready, but that's okay. She made, like you said, words of wisdom. She throughout that entire interview, you don't want to miss it. Again, we're going to have some more on Friday morning at 7:30, and then at 5 o'clock, you'll see the full interview with Stephanie Mills, including the release of "Let's Do the Right Thing," her new song, which is an anthem for today's Black Lives Matter movement, civil rights movement. We kind of liken it to 50 years ago with Marvin Gaye and what's going on, Dr. Chavis.
Absolutely. This is the 50th anniversary of what's going on. That phenomenal, some people say the best album ever produced by an artist, black or white, Marvin Gaye. And certainly there was a lot of controversy when Marvin Gaye released that album, but he spoke the truth. His lyrics really penetrated the music, the vibration. It captured the attention of the world. It had global impact. And we thank the legacy, the living legacy of Marvin Gaye. And what Stephanie Mills said about, each generation of artists should benefit from the prior generation. We shouldn't have to repeat the wheel. We should learn from the prior experience. And what you said about drug addiction and substance abuse is so true. And I think that we need to make sure it's our responsibility, Stacy, to make sure that each generation learns the truth, adheres to the truth, and stays on the right path. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
But you strive toward perfection. You strive to improve yourself. And if you fall, you get up. And that's what the Black press does. We help our people get back up. We just don't celebrate the fact or note the fact that somebody is fallen or somebody has difficulty. No, what we pay attention to is the resilience, is to get back up. Everybody, there's not a family, that does not have had some type of hardship. The question is, what do we do when hardship knocks on our door? We answer that door, but we answer it with our faith, with our courage, and with our stamina. And every storm, you can make it through every storm, but you got to bring something into the storm in order to make it through the storm.
Oh, words of wisdom from you, Dr. Chavis. And you know, again, tune in on Friday, because she also go along those lines. She talks about two people that she loved dearly, but she's very candid about them, Prince and Michael Jackson. You don't want to miss what she said about those two legendary artists. David Youngblood, Dr. Chavis, he says every artist, writer, thought leader should make the NMPA the first stop on media stops. And we couldn't agree more. David, we often see that some of our artists, they wait till they get in trouble before they come to the Black press when mainstream media doesn't have anything to do with them anymore, and which is a shame, because we are not only the trusted voice of the Black community, we are the conscience of the Black community. And speaking of the conscience of the Black community, Dr. Chavis, Attorney Ben Crump, who has done more in recent years than Attorney Ben Crump? I want to go to a clip from this interview we have with Ben Crump, and you're going to see this interview at the NMPA's National Convention in its entirety. And not only that, after the verdicts, which are after the jury decision on June 25th, Ben Crump and the Floyd family will call in to the convention live. So, but check out this clip where he talks about the civil settlement.
Stacy, I'll answer that question, and I'll answer your question about the year, this unprecedented year of 2020 and where we're at today. But the thing that is kind of striking, Dr. Chavis, is how they seem to just change all the rules when it's a Black person. It's almost as if they don't think a Black family is entitled to get full justice. You know, they say, no, you're either going to get, civil justice, or you're going to get criminal accountability, but you're not going to get both. And so, Stacy, we were working on this civil settlement for months with the city attorney, the city mayor, the city council. For months, we have been working on this. And we understood that they could not control what the jury would do in the criminal case. The only thing that the city leaders could control was the civil resolution of the civil rights wrongful death lawsuit that the family filed against the city of Minneapolis for having a pattern and practice of excessive use of force against Black people, especially Black men. When you looked at the number of times they were applying the chokehold, it was disproportionately almost 4 times to 1 that they would be choking Black men versus choking white men. And so that's what we were addressing in the civil lawsuit. And so the fact that they made the decision to settle the matter right before the criminal trial was to begin was a decision by the city. Now, my job is always to be able to argue for us to get equal justice. And as Dr. Chavis knows, we believe that we have to argue in 2 courts for a marginalized person of color to get justice in America. The first thing we have to argue is in the court of public opinion. And if we can win in the court of public opinion, maybe, just maybe, we might get a chance to get into the court of law. No guarantee, but there's a chance.
Mm-hmm. Attorney Ben Crump, again, you can hear a whole lot more. Just register for the National Newspaper Publicists Association's annual convention. It's virtual, it's free, www.virtualnmpa2021.com. Dr. Chavis, you know Ben Crump well. He's so impressive, and he's genuine.
He's one of the greatest civil rights attorneys of all time, and he's certainly the greatest civil rights attorney in this time, in 2021. And the fact that he's going to also call into the NMPA's virtual annual convention on June 25th, right after the sentencing. Again, he's giving first-hand coverage to the Black press of America. We thank him. And that clip, the full interview with Attorney Benjamin Crump by the NMPA, I can see this interview. We're certainly going to play it at our convention, but that interview will be played over and over again in all law schools because he's actually teaching. He's not only teaching future lawyers, but he's talking to all of our families and to all of our communities, to all of our leaders, our elected officials about our responsibility. We cannot allow these injustices to continue without our response. That's just like lynching coming back, and then we kind of say, "Oh, lynching is normal." It's not normal. Racially motivated police brutality is not normal. Lynching is not normal. Voter suppression is not normal. Environmental injustice is not normal. Improving the quality of life, that's what's normal. And anything that impinges negatively on the Black community's quality of life, the Black press, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, and we're going to mobilize and challenge that situation.
Yeah, and it's interesting going back to David Youngblood's point about coming to the Black press. Ben Crump, Attorney Ben Crump, has every major television, newspaper, radio station calling him 24 hours a day, but yet he comes to the Black press, and we tip our hat to Attorney Ben Crump, not just for that, but because of all of what he does. And as we stated previously, can't state it enough, how genuine his actions are. He's getting some subtle criticism, like, why is he always the one? Well, why not? He's getting the job done.
I remember when Attorney Johnny Cochran was alive, people said, well, why is everybody calling on Attorney Cochran? Because he's effective, because he's good. And when people have a tragedy, particularly from police brutality, police madness, or police racism, they call Attorney Benjamin Crump, because he not only is responsive, but he is responsive in a way that with great courage, that he speaks truth to power. And so we need more lawyers like Johnny Cochran, like the late Johnny Cochran, like the current Attorney Benjamin Crump. And he loves the Black press, and the Black press loves him.
Yeah, Gregory Muhammad, welcome to the show, Gregory. Attorney Ben Crump, courageous defender of justice. We couldn't agree more. And Bobby Henry says they are trying to say that being Black is not normal. And we know that to be the case as well, Dr. Chavis.
Absolutely. We thank and Brother Bobby Henry, our distinguished publisher of the West Side Gazette in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, is our chair of our nominations committee. We have an election coming up also on June 25th. June 25th is going to be a historic day for the Black press. And Bobby Henry is the chair of our nominating committee, and we're going to be sending out instructions. It's a virtual convention. It'll be a virtual election. And we have a record number of publishers who are eligible to vote. I'm so proud of the 5 Black women who lead the board of the NMPA. Our chair, our first vice chair, our second vice chair, our treasurer, and our secretary are all African-American women.
Yeah, and I was checking the date just to make sure I had it right, but on the 24th, Thursday the 24th, Bobby Henry won't be watching us, Dr. Chavis. Bobby Henry will be joining us right here on Let It Be Known. So we're looking forward to that.
That's right. Well, he'll be able to give us a first-hand report as our nominations chair. The ballot will be done by then, and he can tell everybody, give everybody instructions how to vote. Absolutely. We talking about voting. We got voting rights in the NMPA also.
And Bobby is going to see to that, right? So,
Absolutely.
Bobby Henry, we appreciate you. And that week, Dr. Chavis, just to, I gave a tease, but we're going to have the chair on the morning that the convention begins, 7:30 on the 23rd, Wednesday the 23rd. We're going to have our chair from the Houston Forward Times, Karen Carter Richards, on. Cheryl Smith is watching. She's going to be on the 22nd.
Great.
TD Sanders from the Omaha Star will be on. She's going to kick off the week, actually, TD Sanders, on Monday, June 21st. We're going to close out that week on the 25th with Clovis Campbell of the Arizona Informant. So we got some of our most outstanding publishers that will be on that week, Dr. Chavis. And of course, you can see them all during the convention, virtualnmpa2021.com. Please register as soon as you can, because you don't want to miss it. And it's free.
And Stacy, don't forget about Chaka Khan.
And that's the headline, the great Chaka Khan. And you're going to see a great performance. exclusively for the NNPA, for the Black Press of America on June 25th. It's going to be fantastic. So Dr. Chavis, thank you for all your hard work. Claudette Perry, our executive administrator. I mean, you guys work harder than anybody in news, hands down, period. So we thank you for that. And let it be known, a wise man once said, wisdom is a protection just as money is a protection. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves the life of its owner. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.